This is Mac OS Ken.
Indonesia is probably getting $1 billion Apple bucks. We are probably getting OS updates next week, and a bit of Apple TV Plus news. It is Friday, the 6th of December, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. So it looks like Apple really is going to invest $1 billion in Indonesia to get iPhone 16 sales going. It would be cool if Apple said something about it. We've done this story for the last month or so. Apple was roughly $15 million short on required investments in Indonesia, prompting that country to ban sales of the iPhone 16 line. Apple offered an investment of $10 million, then upped that to $100 million, an offer Indonesia declined. Instead, the country urged Apple to immediately set up a production facility or factory in Indonesia. Earlier this week, a minister in Indonesia indicated that the government there expected Apple to offer $1 billion in investment soon, starting iPhone 16 sales. That is still where we are, and yet we're seen as closer somehow to a resolution. 9to5Mac draws from a Reuters report that has the same Indonesian minister indicating that Apple's billion is as good as in hand. Quoting 3 snippets from Reuters, Apple plans to invest $1 billion in a manufacturing plant in Indonesia that produces components for smartphones and other products, Indonesia's investment minister said on Thursday. Investment Minister Rosen Roslani told reporters that details of the planned investment were still being ironed out, but when asked, confirmed it was the expected $1 billion investment he had flagged earlier this week. We will discuss with them some more. Our hope is for everything to be announced in the next week after receiving a written commitment from them, Roslani said. So he's got nothing in writing. Apple has yet to make a public comment, but folks seem certain that this is happening, and soon. It would be so neat if Apple said something. As had been rumored, Monday could well be the day for the next round of OS updates from Apple. Mac Rumors ran a piece Thursday that had the Cupertino company seeding release candidates of iOS and iPadOS 18.2 to developers and public testers, along with RCs of macOS 15.2, watchOS 11.2, tvOS 18.2, and HomePod software 18.2. Release candidates represent the final version of the beta software that's expected to see a public release, according to the piece, provided no notable bugs are found. The most anticipated features are the marquee features coming to Apple Intelligence. Things like Image Playground, Genmoji, and Siri integration with ChatGPT. Still, we are hearing more about other features ahead of the likely releases next week. For example, another piece from Mac Rumors says Apple has added a new natural language search feature for Apple Music and Apple TV. Theoretically, users should be able to say things like movies with bears or songs about food, and have the corresponding service serve up such content. I plan to ask about movies in which Max von Sydow is moody and songs that are depressing. I'll let you know how it goes. While visionOS 2.2 does not seem to have gotten an RC on Thursday, there was news of a new feature for it. Another piece from Mac Rumors says Apple's head-worn computer is introducing the promised Multiview feature that will let sports fans watch up to 5 games at once. Hey, why can't I watch 5 movies at once? You don't know. I might be good at it. One more feature in the upcoming updates that is not new, though it is hitting new areas. A final piece from Mac Rumors says the next round of updates will expand the availability of the hearing health features featured in the 1-2 combo of iPhone and AirPods Pro 2. 9 more countries will pick up that functionality, including Cyprus, the Czech Republic, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Romania, Spain, the UAE, and the UK. The annual percentage yield on Apple savings has dropped again. Apple Insider says it's down from October's 4.1% to 3.9%. This after another Federal Reserve rate cut in November. According to the report, Apple's competitors are lowering interest rates as well, so Apple savings remains competitive, though not the option with the highest yield. The piece notes that Apple savings users don't need to do anything to earn less interest, so I guess we got that going for us. Add another state to the stack that can add IDs to Apple Wallet. Engadget says New Mexico, still with that New Mexico smell, now supports digital driver's licenses and state IDs in Apple Wallet and Google Wallet. According to the report, digital licenses can be added to Apple and Google's apps now by scanning the front and back of your physical ID, capturing a scan of your face, and submitting your digital application to be verified. Once added, digital IDs can be pulled up and used in the same way you'd pay with a digital payment card. Not that they can actually usually be used that way. Like the rest of the states that have adopted the technology, carrying a physical ID is still required in most instances where an ID is required. Off now to TV land, where we find business news and more stuff to watch. On the business side, a piece from Apple Must says Apple TV Plus has joined Amazon Prime Video in 3 new countries. It's not that the programming is going to Prime Video, rather would-be subscribers in Australia, Canada, and the UK can now subscribe to Apple TV Plus through Amazon service. Same as it did when the offering went live here in the US, Apple's Senior VP of Services, Eddie the Butler Q, offered a statement for Amazon's announcement that had the exec saying Apple wants to make Apple TV Plus and its award-winning library of series and films from the world's greatest storytellers available to as many people as possible. With that, those subscribers in other subscriptions will be able to catch a new David Oyelowo series. Apple TV Plus issued a press release Thursday announcing a new comedy starring and produced by Oyelowo. Describing the show, Apple says, Government Cheese is a surrealist family comedy set in 1969 San Fernando Valley that tells the story of the Chambers, a quirky family pursuing lofty and seemingly impossible dreams, beautifully unfettered by the realities of the world. When Hampton Chambers is released from prison, his long-awaited family reunion doesn't go quite as he'd planned. During his absence, Hampton's wife and sons have formed an unconventional family unit, and Hampton's return spins their world into chaos. 10 episodes in line for this one. The first 4 hit the Cupertino streamer on Wednesday, the 16th of April. The moment I assume some of you have been waiting for is finally here. The Major League Soccer postseason final is tomorrow, and you can watch it for free. Cult of Mac says Apple TV is making the final game between Red Bull New York and the LA Galaxy free to stream in over 100 countries. Should be available wherever the Apple TV app is available, which means on iPhone, iPad, the Mac, Apple TV, other tablets, dedicated streaming devices from the likes of Amazon and Roku, game consoles, and plain old web browsers to boot. Additionally, the piece says Apple Store locations in the US, Brazil, Canada, and Mexico will broadcast the match live. Coverage begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. out west. And finally today, a well-reviewed though poorly attended Apple original has hit Apple TV Plus today. The Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, romantic comedy drama Fly Me to the Moon is landing on Apple's streaming service. This is the one where NASA is worried about something going wrong with the Apollo 11 moon landing, so they hire people to fake a moon landing just in case. Personally, I think we need to stop making movies that feed conspiracy theories for 50 or 60 years. Or maybe that's just what I want you to think I think. Fly Me to the Moon is streaming now on Apple TV+. As promised, this week on the checklist, brought to you by SecureMac, we're going deeper into the FBI's suggestion that people use communications tools that are harder for the FBI to break into. We'll look at the Salt Typhoon attack and consider a few end-to-end encrypted communication options. That is all on checklist number 403, the FBI, Salt Typhoon, and Encryption. Find it at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.